Alright, and here's the video review for Fans Toys Scoria, their version of a Masterpiece Slag, or Slug, or what Snarl, or whatever continuity you want to call him in. He's G1, so we are calling him Slag. And, so don't get offended. I'm only talking about the Dinobot. And he's really cool. He's quite hefty. A lot of die-cast, or at least what die-cast is there, is quite hefty. There's a good amount of it on him. But, a real good heft to him. I don't have a scale here, so I couldn't actually tell you how much he weighs. Size-wise, just real quick, here he is with Masterpiece Streak in robot mode. And I do have Grimlock here as well. We'll show him off in a second. Show them off together. And he does fit well. He could have been, like, again, in several respects, he could have been a little smaller and still been okay, but he does look nice with Masterpiece Grimlock. And one of the things about him is he does come with a lot of the stuff. This baked potato has all the fixins. You get Scoria himself. You get a little sword that little button press on the bottom lights up. A pistol that, again, with a button press on the bottom, and this one has to push a little, I have to push it a little bit further to get to lock in, but a little blinky blasting gun. You can see it blinking there. And you get an extra head with a silver face and the blue visor, and then you get a couple of extra just red bottom faces, which you can swap out if you so choose. I think you're supposed to get a red screaming face and a red standard face. Mine actually came with two red standard faces. Not the end of the world. You should get one of each in both silver and red. You also get these little lift/cannons. These go on Grimlock to make him a little bit taller, since he's a little bit taller than Masterpiece Grimlock as it is. They also lock together like this. Then you come down here, flip these pieces on the bottom out, and you can pull up here, and you don't have to extend them, but you can extend them. And basically, once that's all out, you can use these just as storage-wise. If you put them on Masterpiece Grimlock, you can snap them on. They just kind of sit in between those two rounded bits on his back, and you can kind of give him some back launchers. They look a little out of place, but it's actually a better effort to incorporate them in the alt mode than I would have expected, because I didn't know what to expect from the feet. I heard he was coming with extra feet, but I hadn't really seen a real good picture of him. So that's a laudable effort for the fact that you're going to need extra pieces to make Grimlock size up. But yeah, there's those. We'll show those off a little bit more later on in the video. But anyway, back to Scoria himself. Get all the extra pieces out of the way, and again, size-wise, we saw a comparison. We'll do a little handy-dandy tape measure. To the top of his dino mode, he's about 5 inches tall. To the top of his head, he's about 4 inches tall. And lengthwise, and his tail completely straight. From the tip of his tail to his head, he's about 13 inches long. So a pretty hefty dino. And again, across wide, he's, let's see, at his widest point, he's about 6 inches wide. And like I said, quite hefty. I don't have a scale, but he is a pretty large dinosaur. Now, the transformation on this guy, as you might expect, is kind of interesting. It's not super difficult. It's actually a lot less complex than I initially thought, but it's really kind of cool. We got his shiny dino head here, and you want to come back here. You do want to be careful, because this end piece of the tail had snapped off, like actually snapped off when it arrived to me. Although mine came in not just wrapped up in a box. It didn't have the official packaging, so you probably won't have that issue with yours. But I'm always a little leery of chrome. And if I had any one minor complaint, it's that there's a lot of chrome on this guy. And unless it's done right, I'm generally not a big fan of chrome. It's not bad here. This is actually a pretty decent usage of it. I'm just always a little. You have to really wow me with chrome to wow me with chrome, and this is okay. But yeah, so he does have a little waggy tail back here. The legs are moving. His hips are here on a ball joint, so you can get some movement out of that. His mouth does open and close here in Dino mode. You can move his horns back and forth. Well, that's mostly for transformation. Mouth opens and closes, and he does have a little flamethrower attachment inside his mouth. And apparently you can fit Grimlock's sword flame from the Japanese release, the reissue, over this piece. And I forgot to grab that when I was grabbing Grimlock earlier. So yeah. But yeah, he's got all the standard articulations you would expect from a Triceratops. And what's neat is his dino head can move back and forth a little bit, as well as up and down. It is ratcheting up and down, so you can have him look up, you can have him look down, about that far down, because his neck is in the way. But it does have some, you can rotate it a little bit from side to side. So you got a nice range of movement in his dino head. So like a lot more posable than the G1 original head, obviously. So to transform him, we're going to come back here. You want to the tail doesn't snap back here. You hear it kind of click, but it's not locked. It snaps into place, but it's not locked. So you just lift the tail up, and then lift this whole assembly on the back up over the chrome. And then the tail, you actually push into. There's a little button right here. You push this down, and you push the tail into the tail like that. So if you want a shorter tail, you can have it. It still waggles and everything back here. And to reverse it, the same thing. There's a button up here. You push, it pops out, and you can see this little fin is on a spring. So it collapses when you go in, it pops out when you come out. So yeah, you want to go ahead and collapse the tail. There we go, just like that. And then you take it, lift this up. Let's see where we go here. Lift this up, fold this whole assembly up like that. And right now, we're just going to leave it right up there for right now while we do some of the rest of this stuff. And then the legs come out. Gotta split them down here. And much like Grimlock, rotate around. You want to kind of open, lift this panel up so you free up the knee. Bring them down, rotate them around, and then close this panel back up. And this is, if you want a G1-esque with the legs down here, you can do that. His hips transform the same way as Grimlock. You lift them up and down, and then up at the hip, and then down just at the outer hip. So you can have the legs out there. It does make for empty hollow legs over here, but if you want a more G1-esque look, you can leave the legs out like that. You can also halfway transform these legs. The legs, you actually split this part, bring it down, and there's a little tab. There's a tab here that's going to peg in right here, like that, and then this comes down, and there's a tab here that's going to peg in to a slot on the inside here, like that. Just fit that over the tab, like that. And there's the leg like that. So you can also have it collapse like that if you want it on the outside. But what you're supposed to do is you open up this front panel, open up this back panel, and then inside, just like on Grimlock, there's a little piece that folds down to form like a little bit of his foot, like that. And then this whole assembly rotates into the leg, and you have to rotate a little bit, and then you can see the toe gets covered, just like that. This panel comes up. You can see where it tabs in this little slot right up here. I'm at the top. Right there by my finger. Tabs in, and then you fold this up on the outside, collapse that all together. And so the dinosaur leg stores inside the main leg. It solidifies that main leg, and then you don't have the kibble on the outside. Really nice, really genius, and I like the fact that you can use it both ways. But the way that folds up and stores in there is really, really neat. And we'll do the same over here. Just open that up, bring the leg down, tab this in over here. He is die-cast heavy, so his knees, he doesn't fall over so much when if you're not tilting him back like I am, but the die-cast does make him a little top-heavy. Fit those in. Oh, forgot to flip the inner piece down. Rotate the whole leg through. Hook that and plug it in. Just make sure that lines up. And then fold that up in the back. Snap it shut. Make sure it all snaps shut, and it snaps up nice and clean. Just a little peg hole there on the side to give you any indication there was anything in there. Then you open up his abdomen panels here. Let's come up to the top and do this stuff up here. So open up his side panels here. And at this point you can actually take this. You can see there's a little opening up in here for the tail tip. You just kind of fold that up in there like that, and that just stores there. It does kind of hang off his back like kibble, but it folds up the tail and it gets it out of the way, and that's actually not a bad solution. And fold the wings out. The fists are actually pretty straightforward. You just open up a flap down here on the bottom and rotate the piece out. Just like that. The toes are on a hinge. You can flip that up if you want. And then he does have individually articulated fingers all the way down at the hand and then the first knuckle. It doesn't have 3 knuckles, but it does have 2 knuckles on each finger all the way down the fist, which is nice. The thumb is just one solid piece, but it is ball jointed up at where it meets the hand. And same thing over here. Flip the fist out. Open up. Open up his hand a little bit. There we go. And there's that done. Now, the dinosaur head is where it gets a little crazy. Because how this works, I'm going to bring the dinosaur head down here so we can show this off. You want to bring the horns in like this, and then the whole frill lifts up on a hinge and folds down here onto the back. And then to keep these parts out of the way, these fold up. Now, right now, they said to be careful because it could damage the chrome here. That's something they're going to clear up, so it shouldn't be an issue on the final release. But it helps if you just fold it up here first, and then fold the small piece down. Or maybe fold the small. Okay, well, one or the other. Just do one hinge at a time. Don't try to just fold it up. Fold one hinge, then fold the other hinge, and that just kind of folds down onto his back. And then you can take. The instructions say to leave this behind his head like this, which I feel sticks out a little bit. You can take, if you clear the way, you can rotate this into the inside, and you want to go to the inside so it fits inside that thing, and then you've got those horns out of the way, which is really nice. And then back up to the top, and you can see that gives him a much cleaner silhouette around the dinosaur head. Let me tighten my camera here. So now for the dinosaur head, before you open up this and flip his head out, you want to fold this down. And the instructions weren't super clear on this. I mean, the step is there, but it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. So you take this. There's a double hinge, both at the jaw and then back in the head. And so you want to take the jaw and kind of pull it up and push it back into his head, and then fold it all the way up. And that gives it enough of a recess for the head to flip up into that space. Because if you leave the jaw with the hinge the other way, like if you leave the jaw with the hinge all the way down like this, the head won't flip up properly. You need to make sure it goes back. If you can see the pin here, you need to push it back in. So set that in to the dinosaur head like that, all the way back. And then you can open up this panel and flip his head out. Now his head gets a little caught on this sometimes. And it's easier, going back it's a whole lot easier, but there's this little ridge in here it gets caught on. But you can just take the sword and just kind of pop that. Oh, come on. Well, it was easier earlier. Let me get a placker, see if that helps. Nope, that's not going to help. Alright, that's fine. We got plenty of time. We're just chilling. Let me get a pen out here. Ah. 1 second. Let me see if I can't find a little piece of metal here. There we go. This will work. Get some nail clippers, get this little piece out. There we go. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly where it's catching. It looks like the front of his head here is catching right on this hinge, which may be fixable. But then you flip the head up, and it sits there right there like that. And there you have Scoria completed in Robot. Oh, and you flip this panel up. Now, I have used an Autobot symbol. It actually came off of one of my Prime sticker sheets from one of the import Japanese Prime versions with the shiny silver. Looks great on the on Scoria. It goes right there with the chrome on it. Or I guess that's the die-cast piece, which is really, really cool. So yeah, and there he is. He can hold his weapons in his hand. He's got a little slot. It's easier to get the gun in his hand than the sword, mostly just because of the sword's handle. The sword has a very intricate little curvy bit on the handle. Oh, I'm not holding it. Okay, let me bring that down a little bit. Okay, there. So there's his gun in his hand. They both have little tabs that go into slots. Gun goes in easy. The sword, I find it helps if you bring it up, out to the side, so and then bring the thumb in, so you're not getting in the way of this piece to get it tabbed in. And then once you got it tabbed in, you can kind of rotate it up. Come on. I totally got this in here earlier. There we go. So yeah, you kind of have to mess with his hand to get him to hold it, but he can't hold the sword. It just lights up. Da-da-da-da! Yeah, I wish that weren't such a pain. But you can give him the sword here. Oh, come on. So it would be just fine if it weren't for this sword piece. And it doesn't look like one side is better than the other. Maybe let's have him hold it like this. Just hold it however. Let's put it in his hand so it's there. So yeah, and there he is, all bigified. Now, again, rotate him around just to give you how everything sits on his back. Just like that. Turn him back around. Now, again, the head is just on a ball joint. You just pop it off. You want him to have a screaming head. Pop it on. That's simple. That's how you swap heads. It's just a little tiny ball joint hole in the bottom. Now, to swap the faces, you have to unscrew the 4 screws on the back of the head, swap out the faceplate. What's neat is if you want to have since you've got all the faceplates in 2 of the red head pieces, if you want to have a more toy-accurate black head, you could just, and apparently they're planning on doing toy colors from what I understand. You can unscrew it, pull all the pieces out, you can just paint the red parts black, and you could have a secondary black head to swap out, depending on how you felt at any given moment. Now the red on this is going to match the red on the original a little better. This is not the final red. They're going to tweak that a little bit as well as some of the other stuff I've mentioned throughout the review. But yeah, that in a nutshell pretty much is Scoria. And again, size-wise, we'll go ahead and do the tape measure first. From this foot to his robot mode head is about 10 1/4 inches, maybe 10 1/8 inch to the top of his robot mode head. And to the top of the figure entirely, it's, let's see, let's put it right there. It's about 11 1/2 inches. Total for him in robot mode. Now, size comparison wise, with Grimlock, as I mentioned earlier, if you put just regular Mold Masterpiece Grimlock next to him, you can see he is much larger. However, the foot pieces they included with him have a little slot on them, and you just come down here on Grimlock's foot and you just slide that in, and it kind of gives him a foot extension. And you do the same on the other side, just kind of slide it on. And it really doesn't look that bad, like I was expecting. And at that point, Grimlock gets just, when we got his hips right, which aren't collapsed all the way properly down here, it makes Grimlock just a smidge taller at the top of the robot mode head. Scoria still rules with the top of his dino head behind his head, overall height. But it does make Grimlock as a robot a little bit taller. And to get an idea, and those look like on his feet, there's a shot. Now, and the overall height of things, I don't think it messes Grimlock up too much because it kind of emphasizes the fact that he was already a little bit lanky for Grimlock anyway. But, you know, like, again, there's the pieces that they just kind of sit around awkwardly when you're not using them, and so that's a little disappointing. Also, the batteries will probably not be included with the figure when it comes to you. The instructions say to use a LR626, which in America is a 377. And you can actually even say it says SR626 lower on the package. But if you can't find the 626 batteries it recommends, 377 is the one you want, just for that easy translation there. But they look really good together. I'm really impressed with just how hefty he is and how good these two look together. I'm really more excited for the other Dinobots. Like Slag was one of the ones I liked. I liked Triceratops, but Snarl was really my favorite. So I'm really looking forward to that Gigapower one that they previewed. And if Fans Toys is apparently doing all the Dinobots too, so I'm really curious to see what they come with when they release theirs as well. But yeah, I do like the fact that the sword lights up solidly versus Grimlock, where you can hold the button down, and he's not even lighting up right now. So whatever. But yeah, they are just to give you a good height wise. And with some other figures, here he is with Fans Toys' other great release that everyone was so thrilled with, a Quake Wave. And again, you can see he is much larger than the Quake Wave figure. Here he is with Masterpiece Prime. Again, taller. And just real quick, here's Grimlock with the lifts next to Masterpiece Prime. Again, a little bigger. And with some smaller Autobots, here he is with the Toy World B and Masterpiece Streak, so you get an idea of how everybody scales together. All in all, like it's a solid figure. I don't know if it's again, I have a test shot, so it's hard to tell what the final result is from this, though I feel this is pretty close. I think Quake Wave is probably a little bit better figure overall. I don't think it quite lives up to the same standards that Quake Wave did, but it's very solid. Like I said, I hope that the chrome under the plastic is strengthened a little bit, because again, that tail did snap right off, and there's a lot of chrome on this guy. But the die-cast gives him a nice weighty feel. Posability, he's got ball joints on the shoulders up here. Guys, it's double hinges on the shoulders. He's got biceps. Oh, I forgot to extend the arms. The arms do extend down in robot mode, just at the shoulder. They just slide up into this piece right here. He has a waist swivel. Oh, it's a little limited just by all the kibble on the back. His head is on the ball joint, again limited by the piece behind it. But he's got the good motion at the hips. He's got knees. He does have a swivel there. The feet don't really do a whole lot down here. They do have a little bit of an ankle tilt, so good toy. I do wish he held his sword a little easier. If these pieces on the edge were just a little bit smaller, closer into the handle, he probably wouldn't have as hard of a time holding this sword. And all in all, not bad. Like I said, some of the chrome bits feel a little cheap to me. But again, I don't know if that's a test shot or if that's just my general reaction to chrome. But the figure itself, very solid, very large. Looks really nice with Masterpiece Grimlock. I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes down the line. But there is Fans Toys Scoria.